Hello again, everybody. This is L.A. Kendrick coming to you from the House of Havoc, the Crib of Chaos, with more weekly horror stories told. And we're back at 38 Stitches Part 2. And we find our guy, Dwayne, going to jump right into it. We find our guy, Dwayne. The last we saw him, he was hiding out, trying not to be attacked by the killer, trying to be found by the killer. And Dwayne is hiding behind the front desk, and he manages to ease his way inside of an open patient waiting room, and he can hear the killer scraping his blades against the front of the front desk counter, and he can hear him actually clanking the metal blades against each other, making that metallic sound. So Dwayne leaves the door partially cracked open, and now he's hiding on the other side of the bed. And the killer opens the door ever so slightly with his blade, and he looks in. You can hear him breathing pretty heavily. Dwayne doesn't make a sound. He's trying to remember if he has any weapons on him, or what the only thing that Dwayne has on him is his box cutter and some car keys. But he doesn't move. And oddly enough, the killer doesn't proceed any further inside of the room. He just stops at the front, looks around, makes a couple of sniffing noises, and then he walks back out with the doors still slightly ajar. And he's pretty much, Dwayne crawls, he gives it a few seconds, and Dwayne comes out from under his hiding place, and he looks out the door, and you can see the killer going down, looking in each room. So Dwayne looks across, and you can see the elevator, which would make too much noise, and then he also realizes that he could use the stairwell, then, in case of fire, stairwell, or if the elevator's out. So he uses the stairwell. So Dwayne eases out, uses the stairwell, and he goes up to the fourth floor. Now, when Dwayne goes to the fourth floor, it's dimly lit as well, but you can still see things. You can actually see light coming from one of the areas up there, one of the rooms, one of the patient holding rooms, and then you can also see light at the front desk there. So Dwayne is looking at the front desk, trying to see if he can find information on what's going on. And sure enough, there it is. The patients that are there have been administered some kind of psychotic drug, and it's supposed to be where it's like a mind control drug, where you can actually they're working for some pharmaceutical company, and this drug is trying to create a super soldier, as like they did back when the Nazis was in World War II, and they were experimenting on soldiers, trying to make them super soldiers, elite soldiers. So Dwayne is reading more and more and more, and he's finding out more about what's going on, and this is explaining what the guy in the wheelchair was telling him. So Dwayne is reading more, and he takes his attention off of everything around him, and all of a sudden he hears somebody say, "Holt, what are you doing?" And he turns around, and there's a police officer there. Dwayne is glad to see the police officer, but the police officer is not there for what Dwayne thinks he's there for. And then Dwayne tells him, "Man, I'm glad to see you. There's a killer downstairs. He just killed everybody with these two big blades that he's got in his hand, and he's just ripped into everybody and killed everybody at the front desk. And I already called the hospital. I mean the police department, and let them know. I dialed 911, let them know what's going on. And they're sending some units out here. They were having a hard time trying to triangulate the place because there's no ping, or there's no the facility doesn't show up on the map, or GPS locators. So the cop says, "Well, yeah, okay, I know that it was hard to find for us too, but they know where I'm at. So I'm gonna, send a shout to dispatch right now." And the cop does. He calls dispatch, lets them know that he's got multiple homicides at the hospital. Send backup, send some units, and they said 10-4, roger that. And apparently they're going to send some people to help him. They're going to send some officers over. And again, remember, this place is pretty far out. It's pretty out of the way. So Dwayne asks the cop, "What are you doing tonight?" He said, "Well, I'm doing guard duty for this inmate that's injured, and I'm here doing extra, for extra guard, for extra money." So they walk to the room where the inmate is down the hall, where the light was coming out of, and the inmate's being belligerent and trying to be aggressive and whatnot. And the officer's like, "Yeah, whatever," and because he's handcuffed to the bed, so he can't move either way it goes. So Dwayne and the officer step outside and start continue to speak in the hallway. And he said, well, what is this guy? He said he's got on scrubs and he's a really big guy. And he just looks crazy, he keeps mumbling. He said he heard chanting earlier on as well. So the elevator dings and the door opens. And the cop looks and he sees two blades step out. And Dwayne said, that's him. And the crazy guy comes out of the elevator with those two blades and he stands there. And the officer says, put those blades down. And then Dwayne steps back and the crazy guy doesn't listen. And he tells Dwayne, and the cop tells the crazy psychotic guy again, put those blades down. So the guy comes running at them with both blades in his hand. So the officer shoots him after giving those warnings, and he shoots him twice. The guy drops, doesn't move. So the officer goes to check him, and Dwayne said, man, I don't think you should do that. Haven't you seen those scary movies? I don't know if you should go check him out right now. He said, well, I got to check for vitals to see if he's alive. Dwayne said, just kick his foot and come back. Well, the officer goes closer, and when he does, the guy isn't down, he isn't dead. He cuts off his arm. He cuts off his arm with the bone saw. Just that much force down the blade with the blade, and he cuts off the arm. The officer's screaming and bleeding from the arm, and he's grabbing the stump where his hand used to be. And sure enough, the crazed guy stands right up and cuts his head off. Clean. Dwayne's in shock, blood spraying everywhere, and Dwayne runs back to where the inmate is. And the inmate's going, what's going on? I heard screaming out there, and I heard gunshots. And Dwayne is telling him, hey, there's a crazy psychotic guy outside, man, and this ain't looking so good. So he tries to lock the door, but as he does, the crazy person, the psychotic man, he starts banging on the door, bang, 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 and he pushes the door open. And when he does this, he finally gets in. So the thing between Dwayne and the crazy guy is the inmate. And Dwayne can't uncuff him because he didn't have any keys. So the inmate is like, hey man, get me out of here. And before Dwayne can even think about helping, the psychotic crazy guy, we might as well just call the guy Bone Cutter. So Bone Cutter brings both of those blades down hard across the chest and just starts whacking and hacking away at the guy. Dwayne runs out, as the guy's getting killed, because he can't save him and he can't stop the guy. So Dwayne runs out, and as he's doing this, Bone Cutter is just going to town on this guy. The guy's screaming, the guy's hollering, and then everything goes quiet. Dwayne is running up the next level of stairs, and this time he's going a little bit further, and he's tired at this point because he's a little bit fatigued because there's a lot of stair climbing. So Dwayne is looking for a place and some stuff to fight with, and when he goes up to the next level, and when he stops and looks around, then he can see what the paper and reports that he saw earlier at the front desk were talking about. And he's pretty shocked at what he's seeing. Not to mention, Bone Cutter is coming up in the elevator. He can see the numbers coming up to his floor. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to stop it right there. You guys like, comment, share, subscribe, please. And my Cash App is $outrage95. Feel free to donate, but I really do appreciate your comments. And the ones that aren't so crazy, but I appreciate all comments. It helps me do better content. And I have published work on Amazon, Barnes & Noble's, Books A Million, Kindle, Nook, and Ingram. Okay, so feel free to check out my published work that's already out there. I got 2 new books that I'm trying to get ready and get out there for your consumption. And again, this is L.A. Kendrick from the House of Havoc. Remember, check your closets, check the dark recesses of your room, check under your beds. And if you happen to work at night, check your surroundings. Check under your car. Because you never know what's lurking in the dark, trying to make you a story. And this is L.A. Kendrick, bringing you the heavy.